What's up, everybody? This is Tyler with Mom's Basement MMA. And today I have a really amazing guest. This man is, I can say for me, an inspiration and somebody that is the textbook definition of resiliency. And I think everybody, regardless of whether you're an athlete, everyone can learn from this man. And I'm really excited to have him on. He's got a really interesting story, and it's one that needs to be told, and it's one that should be made into a Disney movie, I hope one day. But I'm just I couldn't be more excited to welcome my new guest, Mr. Dre Miley. He is a 135-pound contender with the Valor Fighting Challenge, and he'll be fighting next Friday in Knoxville, Tennessee. Dre, welcome to the show, man.
Hey man, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. And you you just have a really interesting story. And for the people that are hearing about you for the very first time, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? And particularly, like I would be remiss, I have to talk about January 2009. I think that's probably a starting point for most of your interviews. Can you tell us really quickly, like what that story was like and how that kind of put into motion like this butterfly effect about how you got into MMA.
Well, I mean, in 2009, I had a car wreck. I was riding with a friend of mine, my little cousin, and my friend's little brother. We was just riding down the road. We took a real curvy road back in my hometown, and he took it pretty carelessly. And then ultimately, I ended up almost going through the dashboard. My eye hit the dashboard, I guess, where the vent is, and it cut my eye from front to back. So only reason why I had to almost go into the dashboard is because I was trying to keep my cousin and the little brother from flying towards windshield. So I ended up catching him. So they was flying towards windshield, and I caught my left side, turned this way, and then by the time I turned back, I was going into the dashboard. Yeah. And then I was playing football, had scholarships to go play at colleges and stuff like that. Once that wreck happened, everybody backed off. It was like it's not possible for him to come back and do stuff like he normally would. So went through a spell of depression, didn't know what to do. I lucked up watching UFC and was like, oh, I would like to try that. After like weeks and weeks of like, I can't do anything. And my family was around me telling me, you need to get up and do something. And I was like, well, I'm going to try MMA. And then roughly 12 years later, here I am.
What position did you play in high school?
I played running back.
So you're like obviously like just looking at you, I could tell like like you're probably like a really fast, like athletic dude. Like were you playing football your entire life up to that
For the
point?
most part, yeah. Yeah. I grew up running track and playing football. I played other sports, but like really track and football is my sports. So like I grew up in Texas, and that's a football state. So it's all boys did. So that's all I knew, especially when I moved back up here.
So
That's all
like
I just play football.
one of the things that you hit on, Gray, and it's something that I like identify with. So like one of the whole reasons that I started getting into like podcasting, talking about mixed martial arts in October of last year, I was diagnosed with an anxiety disorder and clinical depression. Um, Nothing really significant in my life happened. It's just one thing that there are a series of things that have happened that I haven't been dealing with a long time. So like I know what that feels like, and I know just how difficult that can be. And I think that says a lot about somebody who can like dust themselves off, especially after going through the trauma that you went through. I'm sure there was a lot of hardship associated with that because you're an athlete, and then now for the first time you're being told like you can't do something, and it probably a big part of your identity like went away for a little while.
Yeah. When they told me that, because all I associated myself was playing football, and then it's like you can't play football, you'll never see out your left eye again. At that point, felt like like you said, your life is over because that's all I known is to be an athlete. I mean, I'm pretty smart, but like sports is something I excelled at because both sides of my family, we all play sports. So it was really heartbreaking, but you get through it.
Yes, sir, you do. And So, you're in a depression, you're not feeling well, a lot of craziness going on in your life, and you talked about like seeing the UFC. Um, so like what was it, just like the encouragement from your family that got you to like really like drive over to the gym one day and bust in there and figure out what's going on? Was it like them kind of nipping you in the butt to do that?
Yeah, my grandfather really was the one that's like, hey, you need, my grandfather and my father was like, you need to get up and do something. My mom was the same way. So all my family was like, hey, you need to get up and do something. This is not like you to, just give up, yada yada yada. So I was like, all right, fine, I'm gonna try it. Now, when I told them what I was doing, they was totally against it. It was like, that's dangerous. Like you could potentially lose your eye. I was like, well, I mean, or my other, I was like, well, potentially I could like walk down the street and something happens, take my eye out that way. So it's one of those damned if you do and damned if you don't type things. So
So, Dre, one of my questions for you is like when you went into the gym for the first time, like obviously, like, um, I guess my question, this is kind of like a hard question to ask, but it's like, did people take you seriously as like an athlete, like at first, or did they treat you with like kid gloves?
no, because when I started, there was no such thing as like niceness. You know what I'm saying? It was,
Yeah.
you're tough. You walked in there, you knew what you were doing. I mean, of course, the team that I'm with now, that was the team that when I started, I'm still with the same people.
Mhm.
They were always nice and always kind, but they never pulled anything because my coach believes that you have to overcome a lot of stuff. If anybody patty cakes you, you're never going to be successful. So they never patty caked at all with me. So I told them and they knew, and after, taking my lump, so to speak, they really was like, hey, you should try this. And then rest is where I'm at now.
And I guess it worked out well because you're an orthodox fighter. You're right-handed, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean that I would imagine like that doesn't really like affect you most of the time anyway. Like you would
No,
want to
not at
have,
all.
your good eye being back, wouldn't you? Like I would imagine.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
so one question I had kind of like related to this, Dre, was like, okay, so you get into training, like you're crushing it, sure, and now you want to like fight, right? Like you want to get out of the gym, right? And now you want to start fighting people, um, even in the AMI leagues and whatnot. Like, did you encounter any difficulties obtaining a license because of your injury?
Oh yeah, 100%. At first I didn't want to fight.
Mhm.
My coach was like, "Hey, you got a real talent for this. You should try it." I'm like, "All right, I tried it." And then I fought twice as an amateur. And then like after my second fight, for some reason the commission up here was like, "That's not safe. You should not do this." It's they told me it was scientifically impossible for me to fight. I was like, "That doesn't make sense." And they was like, "Well, if you can get a doctor to sign off on it, you can, you'll be able to fight." I was like, "All right." It was 3 years before I could actually start fighting in Tennessee. I fought in Virginia like a lot, but Tennessee like refused. Every other state was like, "Yeah, come on down here." I got licensed in other states, and Tennessee was like, "No, it's not possible. You can't do it." And like
Well,
every time I saw a doctor, they were like, "It's not scientifically possible. Like you can't do that." It's like there's no way that you can see your peripheral vision's compromised. Like I see better than most people do with two eyes. So
they need to Google Mike Bisping, man.
well, see, the crazy thing is, I had done an interview about that, and like it kind of like made me be like, oh, well, Michael Bisping had like one eye, but that was like towards the end of his career.
Mm.
Like he lost it. I think it was some fight. He broke his orbital bone,
Mhm.
and people were like praising him about it. Like that's so brave and blah blah blah. I was like, you do realize like I have been doing this. I've had 12 fights now. Well, about to be 12 fights, and I have been 12 pro fights, and I've been fighting with one eye. So he doesn't get,
Not
extra
only
credit for that.
not only that, man, but like what's most impressive to me is like, yeah, you're an athlete, but like a lot of people that you're fighting against, you're probably going against people that have been doing jujitsu and karate and stuff like that like their entire life. And you're coming in like late to the game, like learning this stuff as an adult. And I think that's a testament to your athleticism and ability to like learn on the fly. because not everybody can do something like that and compete at the level that you're competing at. One of the things I wanted to kind of pick your brain at, you're a big dude, man. Like you're 5'9". So you and I are like the same height, but I'm like
Yeah.
100 pounds heavier than you. Well, maybe not right now because you're at bantamweight, but like you started your career at 125. How the hell did you do that? How did you make that weight, man?
Well, I before I started doing strength and conditioning, I was probably about 140, 145 pounds. And like before, like my car wreck, I was about 165, 170. So I bulked up for football, and then when I lost all of it, my I guess my bones and stuff like got used to carrying that much weight, so like I
Mhm.
can drop it now. But fighting at 25 was just it was fun. It's just I couldn't do it too much. You know, it's just all I had to be super strict on dieting, and I had to pick up strength and conditioning because I had to lean myself out so bad. So I mean, it I can make 25. I'm not a happy person to be around, but I can do it.
Oh damn, man! Like I just can't imagine. I don't know if I've been 120. I was always kind of like a scrawny, wiry little kid, and like I don't know the last time I've been 125 pounds. I must have been like I don't know, freshman in high school. Like
Yeah.
that's just a tough weight to make, man. That's really tough. And you went up to 35. So I had a couple questions for you because I've been like obviously stalking you out on Capology. Was your first fight at 135 against Marquise Johnson in 2019?
No, that was at a catch weight of 130.
It was okay.
My pro debut was 125 against Travis Little,
Mhm.
and all the way up until who was it? Ned Spears. It was my last 25 fight, and I told my coach that I can't make 25 again.
Like I'm at 35 for sure. And was it
Yeah,
just a matter of like the weight, just the weight cut was just eating at you, and probably a combination of getting older too? Like, we get older. I know you're 30 years old, so I mean, for a 30-year-old man to make 125 pounds, like I think you're too big, honestly.
yeah. Oh no, this was before. This is back when I was like 24, 25, and I was like I can't do it because I was packing on so much muscle.
Right.
And what happened was is like I was lifting heavy and like I was eating clean, but I have like this type of body where like if I lift heavy, I bulk up like fast. So I was like, I can't do it. And I'd much rather be, big and strong at 35 and only have to cut about 10, 15 pounds. So like even when I fight 35, I'm still 20 pounds 25 pounds over 35. So
Yeah, for sure. So I wanted to talk to or tell you a little bit. So I've been looking at your tape. You and I have been like chatting back and forth on IG. You've sent me some links. I've been on YouTube, and I've really spent a lot of time trying to do homework on you. I always like yeah, that's a prerequisite to doing any interviews with anybody. You better do your homework and you better know what you're talking about. And I want you to tell me how close you think I am based off of what I'm about to say. And these are, if I had to describe your fighting style to somebody who's never seen it, I would say you irritate people and you make people impatient, and people make mistakes against you because your footwork is really good. You don't charge in. It's like you're thinking 2 and 3 steps ahead, and nothing like I never really see you get like rattled. You don't ever seem nervous. You seem very like calm, cool, collected. And I feel like you just wait out your opponent to make a mistake. And once they do, you capitalize on that and fights.
yeah, that's pretty spot on. That's pretty spot on. I think
Like your
the
your
only time I did,
footwork is incredible, man. Like I don't know, like your cardio and conditioning is I don't see a difference between you. Like you don't ever seem to slow down. You're not breathing out of your mouth. Your footwork is incredible. And a lot of your opponents, I think you piss them off, man. You're a tough guy to hit, and they get frustrated. And then when they start swinging wildly at you, or even worse, try to take you down, that's when bad things happen.
yeah, I just I it's more of a testament to like the team that I train with and my coach, Eric Turner. He's really helped all of us elevate our game. And, with me specifically, a lot of people will key on like punches and stuff like that, but I'm learning to key off like the core and where you need to be for me to hit you, like angling. So you may think that, oh, I can circle to the left, man. That's what I want you to do. I want you to come that side because now I have an answer for it. But yeah, there's some opponents where like I know that I can get them flustered, and there's still things a part of me that I'm working on. So that way, not only do I frustrate them, but I can also end them with besides just submissions. I think the most recent form of that is me going against Jose Johnson, who's
I'm
a
glad you,
tough dude.
I'm glad you brought up Jose because I wanted to talk about that. Um, he's a monster. That dude is
Mm-hmm.
huge. I cannot believe that guy is 135 pounds. Like, well, let me ask you this. This is like a newbie question, and you can help me out. So obviously, you have to hit 135. I assume it's Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you make
Yep.
135 on Thursday. You rehydrate. How much ballpark do you weigh when you actually go in?
Probably walking back at like 53, 54.
Okay. So, I mean, that Jose Johnson dude, he's a massive guy. I know he's like a string bean, but like he's huge. He's like 6 feet tall. And it's just
Yeah.
like weird to see somebody at that weight class. That's like UFC 4 stuff, man. Like a create a character. I would create
Yeah.
somebody that looked like Jose Johnson, man. I would, because he's just like bizarrely big, even for that weight class. And I wanted to talk about that fight because I'm gonna be real, man. Like this, if I didn't like believe this, I wouldn't say this to you. I thought you had done enough personally for that one. And there was an incident in that fight where in the clinch, like he got your eye. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that like really, I don't know. I feel like that like took away a lot of your momentum. You weren't the same after, like you never really were able to recover from that. Like could you even see that guy after that?
Well, I mean, like the ref had told him, like, put your fingers up or I'm gonna take a point. Like he warned him like 3 times within that 15 seconds of it happening. And then like he did it. And I was like, dude, he poked me in the eye, and the ref's watching, and like I'm talking to the ref, and then he comes up and elbows me in my left eye. But
Mhm.
he like poked me in my right one. So I'm just like, all right, cool. So this dude's being dirty. And like, I have been in that situation with, Cody Durden. And when me and him fought, it was the knee happened and there was a groin kick from either one of us. And I pulled myself out of that second round and I was like, I can't do that again for this fight because I had did so much that first round to like show everybody that I had won that first round. So it was more of like get myself back into the fight, like compose myself. All right, okay, this happened. Let's not, dwell on this too fast. Get back on your bicycle and start throwing punches again.
I think that I hope you run it back with that guy one day, man. I do. Um, I think you're a special talent, and I think that, quite frankly, with the deduction, that it it should have been a no brainer. Like I thought you got the UD. Unfortunately, that's just part of the fight game. Sometimes things don't go our way. My question for
Yeah.
you is: take me to the locker room after that. After that had happened, like you're probably pissed off, you're frustrated, you trained really hard for that fight, and then for it to end the way that it did, like when you're like cleaning up, getting the blood off you, taking a shower, like what's going through your mind and what are you thinking?
Well, like at the end of the fight, everybody in the arena was shocked that he won. There was like, there's no way because everybody was saying, "Oh, you won that decision because you controlled round one and three."
Mm-hmm. I thought
And so
that.
like I go backstage with my coach and stuff and my team, and I'm crying. Like it's a fight.
Yeah.
Emotions all over the place. And like I was like, man, I should have did better. I did more. And my coach was like, no, you legit won that fight. You did everything that you needed to do. He's like, you won round one. You won round two. Round three, I don't understand like how you just wrestle somebody and still lose.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very like warming, I'll say, to just be like, oh, well, I did enough, and for him to be like, I gotta get out of Tennessee because this is not. I know I didn't win.
Yeah.
So
I thought you did enough, man. I thought you did enough. And that's kind of like a moral victory of sorts. Like when you hear, like your coaches, I'm gonna go ahead and guess, not being a fighter or anything like that. I'm gonna guess like your coaches aren't gonna sugarcoat anything for you. Like if something's crappy, they're gonna tell you like straight up, like, dude, like, nah, man, you lost. Like, you know what? We'll regroup and we'll lick our wounds and come back better and stronger. But for your own coach to tell you, like, no, bro, like you won, and that's just the way it goes, and we're gonna get better next time. You know, I
Yeah.
think that's a moral victory in a sense. So my question to you, Dre, is like what was your takeaway from that? Like were there any like lessons that you learned, or was there anything like you let a couple days go by and you're like, okay, this is what I'm going to do in response to that, and this is how I'm going to get better?
I didn't really do nothing when everybody was like, "Yeah, you want to fight?" I went home, spent time with my family, and I was sitting there thinking about it. I was like, I really just went 15-minute rounds with somebody that just fought in the UFC,
Right.
like, and convincingly like was beating him. Like
You were.
for someone to say, for everybody to say that he was going to knock me out round one, I took you 15 minutes and made you like hate life, you know? So, and to sit there and say, I'm a striker with a striker. I mean, for me, it showed that my striking is either right there with him or it's a little bit better. Because I know there's punches he hit me with, but like they didn't hurt as bad as the punches I was hitting him with. Because I know I buckled him at least 2 or 3 times.
You did. I saw that. And I wouldn't just call you a striker. Personally, I wouldn't. I think you're, from what I've seen on the tape, you seem to be like a true like mixed martial artist where you can do a little bit of everything. And that leads me to like my next question. So here we are. You fight next Friday against Tim Eschtruth, and at VFC 83 there in Knoxville. And what have you been doing to get ready for this? I know that you were on Instagram. You were training recently, and you went to Arizona. Was that for training or for something different?
It was for training.
Mm-hmm.
2 of my teammates were doing this fascial stretch treatment. Oh, not treatment. Classes.
Okay.
And so they was like, "Hey, we're gonna go out here. Who wants to go to Arizona?" And then they were like, "Dre, you should really come because I don't cross train. You know, I always stay home when I'm training." But they was like, "You need to go train, get some different bodies." So I was like, "All right." So I went out there for a week with everybody, and yeah, it was really good. Really confirmed to how good I am and how better I got within that last fight.
Do you spar?
Oh yeah, we sparred last night. I sparred twice last night, which was just a bad idea because I was dead by the end of it. But yeah, we sparred out there in Arizona.
When you spar, do you spar against like bigger guys like 155, 170? Or do you stick to your weight class?
Sometimes. Most of like my teammates, we all vary in sizes. As long as they don't outweigh me by like 50 pounds, we all
I
spar
outweigh you
together.
by 50 pounds, and I could spar with you. Well, I don't think it'd be a
Yeah,
problem.
see?
Yeah,
But no.
you'd throw me across the room, man. But that's all good. And so I want back to Eschtruth. So this guy's been around for a while. And do you have any initial impressions about him? Is there anything that you think that your opponent does well, or are there any holes in his game that like you see? And if that's a question you don't want to answer, that last part, that's totally fine. We don't want to give nothing away now.
I mean, he could know about it. It's still going to happen. So
I love that, man. So what's your thought about that guy?
I believe that he's really good on the ground. I mean, rank-wise, we're the same on the ground. So he's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, and I'm a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. So I think the only thing that really causes me concern is getting against the wall and then letting him get his judo game off. So he's black belt in judo. So as long as I don't get against the wall and I can keep it standing and control the fight, I would do be good.
Well, one thing, he's a short dude. Like he's 5'4", I think. So you have like, I don't know what your reach is. Like the reach for either one of you wasn't online, and I tried looking, I couldn't see it, but I would imagine like you have, I'm going to venture to guess, you have a significant reach advantage over this guy. I would imagine he's probably going to take the center of the octagon right away. I would imagine he's going to try to do that. and get in your face. But one thing that was kind of cool, so I went into enemy territory, man, just for you. I did. I looked at this guy's fights. I looked at all this guy's doing. And what's interesting is like his last two fights, he doesn't have a lot of like octagon time. He got smoked. He got like knocked out like in one punch a couple years ago in 19. And then his most recent fight, he fought a really, really tough guy. But said tough guy, I won't say his name because I want to try to be respectful. Said
Oh,
tough,
I will, because my teammate's fighting him.
said tough guy. What's his name again? The guy that Eschtruth. Yeah,
Cole Farrell.
Cole Farrell. Farrell is a tough guy, and he was undefeated when he went up against Eschtruth, and I thought he was reckless and was being silly, and Eschtruth made him pay for that. Like, it really reminded me of Jorgen De Castro against Justin Tafa. Like when Justin Tafa, like I don't know if you remember that fight, but like Justin Tafa, it looked very similar. Like Justin Tafa thought he was going to be a bully and go in there and get in De Castro's face, and De Castro just slipped it and just one hit quitter, man, done, over. And that's what happened in that particular fight. And then prior to that, he was in Ryzen. He went to Japan, and the guy that he fought was like a journeyman fighter, and he got in the clinch and he took a lot of knees to his body, and he didn't like that at all. And it set up an elbow to the face, and he got knocked out, man. I'll say this, like, I don't know if I were him, I'd want to put you against the cage. I've seen what you do to people who put you against the cage and try to shoot on you, man, and that's not a good idea. like it's just not a good idea to do that against you. And that kind of leads me to a question. So like the standing guillotine, is that your favorite?
Absolutely not. It's really not. It just happens to be the ones I hit a lot.
Because that looks nasty, man. Like you get that, you clamp that down on people, and it's over. It's over, dude. They don't get out of that, man. Like you're a nasty guy. And I think if I'm like a grappler, like I'm kind of afraid to fight you. I think I'd be afraid to fight you no matter what I was. But you know what I'm saying? Like this guy, I don't know, like if being a judo guy is like necessarily a good advantage. Like I don't know if I want to take you down to the ground. That just does not seem like a smart idea.
I mean, he'll probably try to do it. Everybody at least tries to do something against me.
They
So
do.
I mean, if he shoots, that's cool. I got a guillotine. I got a lot of things for him. But my own personal, well, not my own personal. Our philosophy at the gym is that if I get a submission on you, if it's a choke, I'm putting you to sleep. I'm not giving you a chance to tap.
So has OSP taught you the Von Flue choke?
Oh yeah, all the time. Like everybody in our gym knows it. So like when we get like guys who like live and die by the guillotine, it's like, all right, I'm a Von Flue choke you.
Yeah. So for people that don't know, Oven St. Preux is a part of the gym that Dre trains at. And man, I'm really looking forward to this bout. I am definitely going to hit up the link. That's next Friday. I'm going out of town on Saturday, so it'll be a nice little thing for me to see. You are just something else, man. Like you're an incredible talent, and I love watching you fight. I like your patience. I like how you set things up, and I like how you irritate people. Like I don't know, it just kind of makes me smile. Like when people lose patience against you, that's the best thing that happens. Like to fight Dre, you have to like match fight IQ with fight IQ, and you're a very intelligent fighter, very, very patient, and you're just a pleasure to watch, man. I got a couple user questions. So people that follow the page, they wanted to ask you a few questions, and I picked out what I thought are some good ones for you. One question was, is there anyone that you emulate your game after?
Usman, Kamaru Usman.
Nice.
I feel like me and him had the same game. And it didn't bring into my attention until my coach, Eric Turner, said something about it. He was like, you see how Usman fights? Like, you and him are kind of similar. You kind of move alike. So been trying to model it after that. And then also at the same time, be my own person.
Yeah, absolutely. And thinking about that Usman fight, if you would have told me he was going to knock out Street Jesus, man, I would have said you're crazy. There's no way. Like, I would have been like, yeah, he'll win, but like, he's not going to knock him out. You're crazy. And it happened, man. Like, don't sleep on that guy. Like, he's not just a grappler.
All it takes.
Like, he's not just a grappler. He's one of the best of all time. Okay, 2 more questions for you, for the users. Who do you got, Figueiredo or Moreno?
I had missed the first fight, so I had to go back and watch it.
Dude, it was something else, man. Like, that was a war.
I heard
that was a war.
I honestly like Moreno more because I feel like Moreno wants it more.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like Figueiredo, he lives and dies by his weapons, man. He doesn't really try to venture off from his game. He's either going to knock you out or tap you out. Moreno is like, I'm going to hurt you and I'm going to make it violent.
So, I like Brandon.
I like him
personally. I think Brandon's gonna. I thought he did enough the first time, but it'll be a good fight. Do you play UFC 4? And if you do, who do you play with?
Man, I played UFC 4 like once or twice, and like it made me so mad. Like I did the story mode and I won, and like I was wrecking through like people.
Yeah.
And then I was like playing as Vince on there, and I got like smoked. No, I was playing against Vince. That's what it was. I was using a fighter against Vince, and like for some reason they gave Vince like superpowers on this game, and like he touched me like 3 times, and my dude was out. I was so mad.
So we'll take that as a not lately. I tell you what, man. Like the first I don't know. I had to keep that game on the shelf for like the first like month or 2 after I got it, just because I was like, man, like this game's like broken, or at least that's what I said. Maybe I was just terrible. But
No.
I wanted to ask you like a really important question, and I think based off of your story, like you've shown perseverance, like you have one eye, man, and you're able to like fight at the highest level in the country, and you're quite literally 1 or 2 fights away from being in Bellator, PFL, UFC. And for you, I think you're talented enough, and more importantly, I think you're smart enough to actually make that happen. I believe it will be a reality, and I do believe in a short amount of time I'm going to be turning on my TV and I'm going to see you make your debut. I believe it. I know it'll happen for you. So my question is, for kids out there that might have a disability, that might have one eye, that might have an impairment of some kind, like what's your message to children like that see you fight?
It's basically what, my coach, Eric's been saying. It's like, just keep going. Like, life sucks. It rains on both sides of the fence. Everybody's going through something. But if you let it beat you, you'll never become somebody that you were supposed to be. So just keep moving. Just keep moving.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And before I ask you about your ticket information for June 4th, who's your dream fight at 135? If you can wave a wand and you can fight anyone you want at 135, who would it be? I got my answer.
Anybody?
Anybody you want, man. I got my answer.
I'll see. Man, I'd like to fight like Cass Bell from Bellator. Or if we're going the UFC route, I would love to go back and fight Cody Durden again.
Okay.
Hell, honestly, I'd love to fight Ronnie Lawrence because, we were coming up at the same time and our paths never clicked. Like I fought 2 of his teammates, but I never fought him.
That would be good. So I got a random one. This is going to come out of left field, but this guy's a beast. I don't care what anybody says, and I think you should fight him. Wineland.
All right.
Eddie Wineland.
Wineland. Man, that's a legend right there.
Dude, I'm telling you, like Eddie Wineland, like he's the man. Like but I would love to see you fight somebody like that. I think you can do it. You have the talent, you have the IQ. And Eddie's a bad man, but you know what, man? Everybody in the UFC is a bad man. Everybody. Like, everyone's a killer. Like, every single person's a killer. But you're going to be there one day, man, 100%. And before I let you go, I wanted to ask you, For your fight on Friday, if you're in Knoxville, can people buy tickets from you? How does that work? And if people are outside of the area like me, how can we watch your fight?
I have tickets on me, so they're like $40. That mean you're gonna help me get to the UFC, so that's the reason why you push the word tickets. I also have a link online. If you go to Fighter Tix and then you go under my name under VFC 83, you can get tickets there. If you are out of the country, you can't make it, go to boxcast.tv, and I think it'd be VFC 83. So you can be able to watch all the fights from there.
And what I will do is when you post up that information, I will put that on my Instagram story. So everybody who's following, everybody who's listening to this interview, you guys will be able to have the instructions to go ahead and try to watch my dudes fight next Friday. With that being said, man, I really appreciate your time. Like, you are a true gentleman, and you embody a lot of things. Like, I'm a parent. I have 2 kids, and I always try telling them, like, you know what, like, sometimes bad things happen to good people, and you have 2 options. One, you can sit down, feel sorry for yourself, and complain, or 2, dust yourself off, understand life's not fair, and make shit happen. You have 2 paths, and you're always going to be better off if you take option 2.
Yeah.
So,
and you sound like me when I'm talking to my kids.
Well, man, it was a true honor. For people that want to follow my guy on Instagram, I follow him. I do not follow a lot of people on purpose because I want to see what's going on with my fighters. What is your Instagram name?
It's Dre Miley, MMA 135.
And he is on my follower list. Like I said, I don't follow a lot of people, so if you click on that, he'll pop up there. And I have, like, he's been in my story like all week. So unless y'all have been living under a rock, you guys should know who he is by now. But ladies and gentlemen, Dre Miley, and Dre, man, I hope we do this again, man. I had a really good time talking to you. You're a great dude, and you got a bright future, man. You really do. And I hope when I'm in Knoxville or you're up my way, man, I hope I can shake your hand.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, man. I really appreciate the time that you took out of this, and appreciate you calling me a gentleman and all that.
You're the man, and always a pleasure. And you have all my contact information. You got my number too. So if you ever need anything, my DMs, my text messages, man, I'm always open, man.
All right, man. I appreciate that.
All right, brother. You take care and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And
all right, you too.
I will put this up. If you're okay with it, I'll go ahead and start editing this, and I'll have it up tonight sometime.
Okay, sounds good to me.
All right, Dre. Always a pleasure, my friend.
All right, see you, man.
Brother. See ya.